Hello friends, welcome to Kamath Astrology. On 13 September 2025, Mars, the planet of action, aggression, dominance, enters into the sign of Libra or Tula, and it will stay there till 26th October 2025. So in this video, we will try to understand the impact of Mars transit in Libra on the world and on every ascendant. Now, what is Mars? Mars is a planet of anger, aggression, dominance, ambition, courage. It is considered as the commander in chief and therefore represents army personnel, people in the defense sector. On the other hand, Mars also represents fire and weapons. Now, what does Libra or Tula represent? Libra or Tula is shown by the symbol of a weighing scale, which means that this is a sign of balance or harmony. It is a sign of partnerships and marriage. No partnership or marriage is perfect. It is always about finding the middle ground or balance in relationships. Libra or Tula is governed by the planet Venus, which is the planet of love, beauty, and harmony. Libra is all about finding the middle ground. So it is about diplomacy, it is about getting justice, and it is about finding harmony in relationships. Now, what happens when an aggressive planet or a hot planet or an impulsive planet like Mars enters into this sign of peace that is Libra? Now, it can create a very fascinating paradox. On one side, this transit can give us the drive and courage to fight for justice and create balance in our lives and relationships. It is a time when we are motivated to take action to resolve conflicts and seek harmony. However, because Mars is an angry planet, because Mars is a hot planet, this combination can lead to passive aggressiveness, arguments in relationships, and sometimes it can give us a tendency to be indecisive in relationships. Mars wants to act impulsively, but what Libra or Tula wants to do is it wants to weigh the pros and cons in every situation and then take a decision. And so this contradictory nature of the sign of Libra and the nature of Mars, that can lead to frustration and tension in relationships. So Mars's energy here has to be channelized for fairness and diplomacy. Now, which planets are aspecting Mars? You can see the purple square which shows Mars in the sign of Libra or Tula. You can see Mars is at 0 degrees on 13 September at around 9:34 p.m. and therefore this is the point when Mars just enters Libra. Now, when Mars enters Libra, it receives the 5th aspect of Jupiter and it receives the 9th aspect of Rahu. So this aspect of Rahu can inflame Mars further. It can amplify the aggressiveness of Mars. It can amplify the dominance of Mars. So what happens on a world stage? Now, on the world stage, this sign of Libra is the natural 7th house and it represents partnerships. It represents diplomatic relations. It represents negotiations and contracts. Now, what this means is Mars in Libra will bring a sharp focus on international relations, legal battles, and trade agreements. So, you can expect to see a rise in diplomatic negotiations with certain countries making a strong push to resolve long-standing disputes. But with Mars here now, these discussions, these negotiations, they can be heated, they can be contentious, they can take a different aggressive stance. Now, can Mars in Libra cause wars? Now, while Mars in Libra is not a classic placement for all-out war, it can certainly trigger conflicts that are framed as a fight for justice or a restoration of balance. So you may see an increase in trade wars, that is disputes over economic and trade policies. They can suddenly escalate in this time period. Legal battles in international courts, legal bodies, that will also be in the spotlight in this time period, with say lawsuits between major nations being disputed in an international court. And because Mars is the planet of action, it is the planet of aggression, protests and demonstrations will become common across the world. And these protests can be for social justice, it could be for equality, it could be for any other purpose where a person feels like fighting for justice. Now, the next thing we look at natural disasters possibility. So, what is Mars? Mars, I told you, is a fiery planet. It represents fire, it represents weapons, explosions, industrial accidents. All of these are shown by Mars. And Libra is an airy sign. So when Libra is an airy sign, it can result in fire, explosions. It can also result in powerful storms and significant amount of air pollution. Now, which regions will most likely be affected? Based on my analysis, the region of Tibet, the region of China, Argentina, parts of Australia, they will be strongly affected in this time period. And because Mars is sitting in the sign of negotiations, it is sitting in the sign of contracts and relationships, any war which is currently ongoing, example the Russia-Ukraine war or the Israel-Iran war, the situation in Gaza, all that can suddenly explode in this time period. So world leaders, they will be under immense pressure to maintain peace and balance, and this transit will be a test of their diplomatic skills and their ability to make fair and just decisions. Now leaders who are too aggressive, too indecisive, they are going to face challenges to their authority. So during this time period, you may see certain leaders suddenly resigning and certain leaders coming to power or rising suddenly who can handle this complex energy of Mars. Now, if you look at India's chart, this is the 6th house, and therefore India is going to become very aggressive in relationships. Now, during trade negotiations, during the tariff negotiations, India will be very aggressive because of the presence of Mars in the house of relationship and contract, that is Libra, which is the 6th house for India's ascendant. So, you can expect the Prime Minister of India to be very aggressive because he is also running the Mangal Mahadasha currently. The country will enter into Mangal Mahadasha on 20th September. I made a separate video on that. So aggressiveness from India on the diplomatic front can be seen here. With respect to trade agreements, India will become very aggressive. With respect to its neighbors, and in partnerships with neighbors, India will become aggressive. Now, are there chances of leaders getting assassinated? Yes, there are high chances of leaders getting assassinated, especially those holding high positions of power in countries such as USA, Iran, Iraq, and China. More so, this transit is not good for President Trump, and there will be definite attempts to assassinate him or to cause some kind of harm to him. Now, for India, because this transit is happening in the 6th house, it can also trigger a diplomatic war with its neighbors like China and Pakistan. Especially Pakistan will be badly impacted by this transit of Mars in the 6th house of India's chart. So border tensions can increase in this time period because Mars is in Gemini in India's natal chart, and that can trigger border tensions, that can trigger naval wars also. Next, let us see the impact on every ascendant. So I'll begin with the Aries ascendant or the Mesh Lagna. Now Mars is going to transit in your second house of marriage and partnerships. And this is a time where you have to be careful with your words and actions in relationships. You may feel the need to be very assertive, but that can lead to arguments with your spouse or your business partners. Instead, you use this energy to work on creating more balanced and harmonious partnership. Control your tongue and everything will be fine. Now for the Taurus ascendant or Vrushabh Lagna, Mars is transiting the 6th house, and 6th house shows enemies, daily routine, health. So Mars transit here tells us that it is a good time to focus on your health and fitness, but you should also be careful of accidents and injuries. And you may face some conflicts at work because this represents your daily routine. So you may try to be aggressive in your workplace, but that can damage the relationship with your colleagues. So instead, try to be diplomatic when you are dealing with your colleagues, and also have a balanced fitness regime. Do not over exercise because Mars here can make you over exercise and can cause problems in your health. Now, for the Gemini ascendant, Mars is transiting the 5th house of creativity, romance, and children. It is aspected by Jupiter and Rahu. So, this can make you very passionate and creative in this time. But you may have conflicts with your children or in your romantic life. So, channel your energy into creative projects and avoid unnecessary drama. Now for the Cancer ascendant or Kark Lagna, Mars is transiting the 4th house of Libra, which shows home, mother, and property. So this can bring some tensions and conflicts in the home or domestic environment. You may feel a bit irritated and short tempered with your spouse, mother, or family members in this time. Remember that this is a good time to work on creating more peaceful and harmonious home environment. Now we will move to the Leo ascendant. So Leo ascendant, you already have Sun, Ketu and Mercury in the ascendant, and Mars is transiting the 3rd house of communication, siblings and short journeys. So now with Mars in the sign of communication, your communication is going to be very direct and you will be very assertive in this time, but you should be careful not to be too aggressive. And because of your aggressiveness, you could have conflicts with siblings or neighbors in this time period, and those relationships can get damaged. So that is where you have to be careful. Now, for the Virgo ascendant or Kanya Lagna, Mars is transiting the 2nd house of wealth, finances, family, fixed assets, food. And this can be a time for increased expenses. So you have to be mindful of your spending, and you could have conflicts with your family members or siblings over financial matters. Now for the Libra ascendant or Tula Lagna, Mars is transiting the 1st house. So it is going to make you feel energetic, courageous and assertive. And it is a great time for you to work for your personal goals and projects. But be careful, don't be too impulsive, don't be too aggressive. Now for the Scorpio ascendant or Vrishicka Lagna, Mars is transiting the 12th house of expenses, losses, foreign people, foreign lands, isolation, spirituality. So for you, this is going to be a challenging transit, which has the potential to give you unexpected expenses. 12th house also shows hidden enemies. So here you could face some trouble from hidden enemies. So it is a time where you need to be mindful of your spending and try to avoid getting into any unnecessary conflicts. Now for the Sagittarius ascendant or Dhanu Lagna, Mars transits the 11th house of gains, friends and elder sibling. So this is a very beneficial transit because it can bring you financial gains and it will also give you success in your ventures. And what this shows is because Mars is in the 11th house, you will be very active in social life. But again, don't be very aggressive with your friends because it can spoil the relationship. Now for the Capricorn ascendant or Makar Lagna, Mars transits your 10th house, and 10th house is about your karma, your profession, your public life, your status and authority. So this is a time of great ambition and drive in your career. You will be very focused on achieving your professional goals, but be careful because you could get into conflicts with your superiors or colleagues. Mars can make you very aggressive and you have to be careful about this aspect. For Aquarius ascendant or Kumbh Lagna, Mars is transiting the ninth house of fortune, father, and long distance journeys. It is aspected by Rahu and Jupiter. So, this is a good transit because it brings opportunities for growth and expansion. Rahu can make you very impulsive. It can make you very angry also in this time period. Father may face certain health challenges, and there is a possibility that you can go on a long journey or a pilgrimage. Relationship with father can be a bit challenging in this time because of Rahu's aspect on Mars, but Jupiter's aspect will control things for you. Now, for the Pisces ascendant or Meen Lagna, Mars transits the 8th house. 8th house is about transformation, obstacles, occult, and it is also about in laws and joint finance. So, this can be an intense transformative transit for you. You may face sudden and unexpected events in your life, and you should be careful with respect to your health and finances. Matters related to insurance, in laws can take a center stage in this time, and you need to be mindful about your relationships with them. Don't be very aggressive with them in this time period. Now, what are the remedies for this transit? General remedies for everyone. First is start chanting the Hanuman Chalisa. Hanuman is the deity who controls Mars. So chanting the Hanuman Chalisa can control this energy of Mars. Second thing, Mars represents red items. So start donating red clothes, red lentils, pomegranates on Tuesday. That can appease Mars. Mars represents army men, people in the defense sector. So on Tuesdays, try to donate something for the welfare of these people. That also channelizes the energy of Mars properly. Lastly, practice patience and diplomacy. This is very important because Mars is very impulsive. So before you speak or act, take a moment to think and do consider the consequences. Now, Mars is a planet of action, so engage in regular exercise, and that can be a healthy outlet for your energy. So this transit of Mars is not bad, but it is a time for potential growth and transformation. And if you channelize this energy correctly, if you are mindful about your actions and words, then you can use it to create more balance, justice and harmony in your life. And also, the world will benefit if we are all harmonized, if we are all in sync, but that is highly unlikely. So friends, I'll conclude this video here. If you like this video, please mark it as liked on YouTube. To know more about us, you can visit our website astroseva.tripod.com. To reach out to us, please email us at astrosevaworld@yahoo.com. So friends, thanks a lot. Bye. Take care and stay safe. I will see you soon with another video.